Welcome back to A Zivly Horror, where we dive into the darkest corners of the unknown. Tonight's tale is about an abandoned house that hides more than dust and decay. It's called Elmwood House, a place where the walls whisper secrets of the dead. This story is inspired by real-life accounts of haunted abandoned homes, places where people vanished and shadows came alive. If you're alone in the dark, you might want to turn on a light. But remember, lights can't chase away what's already inside. Imagine a small town called Riverton, surrounded by thick woods. In the heart of those woods stands Elmwood House. It was built over 100 years ago by a rich family named Hargrove. They were happy at first, a husband, wife, and 2 kids. But one stormy night in 1925, something terrible happened. The whole family disappeared.
No bodies, no clues.
Just bloodstains on the floor and a diary entry that said, "The shadows are watching." The house was left empty, boarded up, and forgotten. Locals say it's cursed. Kids dare each other to go near it, but no one stays long. They hear things, see things. Our story follows 3 friends: Jake, a brave adventurer who loves exploring old places; Sarah, his skeptical girlfriend who thinks it's all just stories; and Mike, the quiet one who's always scared but tags along anyway. It was a warm summer evening in 2025 when they decided to check out Elmwood House. "Come on," Jake said, grinning. "It's just an old house. What's the worst that can happen?" They drove down a bumpy dirt road, the trees closing in like fingers. The sun was setting, painting the sky red like blood. When they arrived, the house looked even creepier up close. Vines choked the walls, windows were shattered like broken eyes, and the front door hung open like a mouth waiting to swallow them. "This place gives me the chills," Mike whispered, shining his flashlight. Sarah rolled her eyes. "It's abandoned, not haunted. Let's go in and prove it's nothing." They stepped inside. The air was thick with dust, and it smelled like mold and something rotten. Their footsteps echoed on the wooden floor, which groaned under their weight. In the living room, furniture was covered in white sheets, like ghosts frozen in time. Jake pulled one off a chair, and a cloud of dust made them cough. "Look at this," he said, picking up an old photo frame from the mantel. It showed the Hargrove family, smiling. But when Sarah looked closer, she swore the eyes in the photo followed her. "Trick of the light," she muttered. As they explored, strange things started happening. In the kitchen, cabinets opened and closed on their own.
Bang.
A door slammed upstairs. "Probably the wind," Jake said, but his voice shook a little. Mike found an old chessboard in the corner, pieces set up like a game in progress. "Hey, guys, this is weird. It looks like someone was just playing." He moved a pawn, joking around. But then, as they watched, a black knight moved by itself across the board. "Checkmate." Mike jumped back. "Did you see that?" Sarah laughed nervously. "Must be magnets or something. Let's check upstairs." They climbed the stairs, each step creaking like bones breaking. The hallway was dark, with peeling wallpaper that looked like faces staring back. They entered the master bedroom. An old bed sagged in the middle, and a mirror on the wall was cracked. Sarah stood in front of it, fixing her hair. But in the reflection, she saw a woman behind her, a pale lady in a white dress, with hollow eyes and blood on her hands. Sarah spun around. "No one there. Guys, I saw something." Her voice was a whisper now. Jake tried to stay calm. "It's our imagination. Old houses play tricks." But then the whispers started. Soft at first, like wind through cracks. "Leave or stay forever." They came from the walls, from under the floor. Mike froze. "That's not the wind. That's voices." They ran to the kids' room next door. Toys scattered everywhere, dolls with missing eyes, a rocking horse that started rocking on its own. Creak, creak. A child's laughter echoed, but it wasn't happy. It was cold, like ice down your spine. Panic set in. "We need to get out," Sarah said, her face pale. But as they turned to leave, the door slammed shut.
Locked.
They banged on it, yelling. No use. The temperature dropped, frost forming on the windows even though it was summer outside. Shadows moved in the corners, growing longer, reaching out like hands. Jake shone his light, and for a second, he saw them. The Hargrove family. The father with a twisted neck, the mother dripping blood, the kids with black eyes grinning. "You came to play," the little girl whispered. "Now you can't leave." Mike screamed as something grabbed his ankle, cold fingers pulling him toward the closet. He kicked free, but scratches appeared on his leg, deep and burning. Sarah remembered a story she'd heard. The Hargroves were murdered by the father in a fit of madness, driven crazy by the house's curse. It was built on an old burial ground, and the spirits wanted revenge. They fed on fear, trapping souls forever. Desperate, they searched for a way out. In the attic, they found the diary. Yellow pages, faded ink. Jake read aloud. "The shadows come at night. They whisper your sins, make you see things. I killed them to set them free, but now we're all trapped." As he read, the house shook. Dust fell from the ceiling. The shadows coalesced into shapes, dark figures circling them. "Join us," they chanted. Sarah spotted a window. "Break it." Jake smashed it with a chair, glass shattering like screams. They climbed out onto the roof, slipping on loose tiles. Below, the wood seemed alive, branches waving like arms. Mike jumped first, landing hard.
Sarah next.
Jake last, but as he leaped, a shadow hand grabbed his shirt. He fought, tearing free, but fell wrong, twisting his ankle. They ran through the woods, thorns tearing their clothes, whispers chasing them. "Come back, stay." Finally, they reached the car, engines roaring as they sped away. Back in town, they gasped for breath. "Never again," Mike said. Sarah nodded, but when she looked in the rearview mirror, she saw the pale woman smiling from the back seat. Blink, and she was gone. Weeks later, Jake started hearing whispers at home. Sarah saw shadows in mirrors. Mike? He vanished one night, his car found near the woods. Some say the house calls you back. If you ever see an abandoned house like that, walk away. Because once the shadows notice you, they never let go. This tale draws from real stories of abandoned homes where people reported moving objects, ghostly figures, and unexplained disappearances, like the chess set that moved on its own in an old house, or mansions with histories of murder and scandal. Remember, the scariest horrors are the ones that might be true. If this chilled you, like, subscribe, and share your own creepy stories in the comments. What abandoned place have you explored? Sweet dreams or not? It started low, like static on a radio. "Help us." Emily froze. "Hello? Is someone there?" No answer. She shone her light along the platform. Empty. But then, footsteps echoed, slow, dragging steps on the gravel. She turned, heart pounding. "Nothing. Just my imagination," she muttered, but her voice echoed strangely, as if the platform was mocking her. As minutes ticked by, the fog thickened. Emily checked her watch. 11:45 p.m. The witching hour approached. She decided to explore. At the end of the platform, she found an old ticket booth, windows cracked and covered in dust. Inside, faded posters advertised trains to nowhere. She wiped the glass and peered in. For a split second, she saw a face, a pale man in a conductor's hat, eyes hollow like black pits. He mouthed, "Ticket, please." Emily jumped back, gasping.
When she looked again, gone.
Shaken, she returned to the bench. That's when the real horrors began. Shadows danced in the fog, forming shapes, people in old-fashioned clothes, waiting like passengers. One was a woman in a Victorian dress, cradling a ghostly baby that cried faintly. Another, a man with a burned face, pacing restlessly. Emily rubbed her eyes. Hallucinations from the cold, she told herself. But then, a cold hand brushed her shoulder. She spun around, no one. Yet, her coat felt icy, as if dipped in frost. The whispers grew louder, clearer. "The train is coming, join us." Emily's phone buzzed unexpectedly. No signal, but a video started playing on its own, an old black and white clip of the 1897 derailment. Cars flipping, Fire raging, people screaming. "How is this on my phone?" she whispered. As the video ended, the platform shook slightly, like tracks rumbling. Panic rising, Emily tried to leave, but the fog walled her in, disorienting her. She stumbled back to the center. There, a little girl appeared out of the mist, about 8 years old, in a tattered dress, holding a broken doll. Her eyes were milky white. "Will you play with me?" the girl asked, voice echoing like a tunnel wind. Emily backed away. "Who are you?" The girl smiled, teeth sharp. "I was on the train. We all were. The brakes failed because of him." She pointed to the shadows, where the conductor's ghost emerged, hat askew, guilt etched on his face. Legend says he sabotaged the train in a fit of madness, driven by voices in his head. The girl reached out, her touch burning cold. Emily felt memories flood her mind, not hers, but the girl's. The jolt of the derailment, the heat of flames, the crush of metal. "Stop," Emily screamed, pulling away. But more ghosts materialized, dozens, crowding the platform. A businessman with a noose-like tie, whispering stock tips from the grave. An elderly couple holding hands, their skin peeling like burned paper. They all stared at Emily, chanting, "The midnight train is here. Board now or stay forever." From the fog, it appeared, the phantom train, black as night, windows glowing with eerie blue light. Doors hissed open, revealing seats filled with skeletal figures. The conductor stepped out, extending a bony hand.
"Your ticket, miss."
"It's time to go." Emily ran, but the platform seemed to stretch endlessly. Ghosts grabbed at her clothes, pulling her back. "You came here willingly," they hissed. "Now you're one of us." In desperation, Emily remembered a detail from the podcast. The ghosts feared light, the real light of dawn. She checked her watch, 11:59 p.m. Just 1 minute. She fought through the crowd, dodging icy grasps, her breath visible in the freezing air. A ghost's nail scratched her arm, drawing blood that froze instantly. The train's engine roared, pulling her toward the doors with invisible force. As the clock struck midnight, the train began to move. Emily leaped off the platform's edge, tumbling into the weeds. The fog lifted slightly, and she ran blindly through the woods, branches whipping her face. Behind her, the train's whistle faded into screams. Emily made it home that night, bruised and terrified. She deleted the video from her phone, or tried to. It kept reappearing. Weeks later, she heard whispers on busy platforms, saw faces in train windows that weren't there. Some say Midnight Junction claims a new soul every year, pulling them onto the eternal ride. If you ever find yourself on a lonely platform at night, listen carefully. If you hear whispers, run. Gather close, my friends, to the flickering screen of your channel name, where nightmares come alive and the dark whispers truths you'd rather forget. Tonight, I bring you a story unlike any I've told before, a chilling saga of the Headless Wanderer. Not your sleepy old horseman from dusty books, oh no. This is a beast forged in blood and betrayal, a shadow that steals more than heads. It devours your very essence. Inspired by ancient tales of decapitated spirits from forgotten corners of the world, but twisted into something raw, something that will crawl under your skin and stay there. If you're watching alone, lock your doors. But remember, locks can't stop what is no face to see. Deep in the misty hills of Willowbrook, a tiny village hugged by ancient woods, lived a man named Elias Crow. Back in the 1800s, Elias was the village blacksmith, strong, kind, with hands that could bend iron like clay. He had a loving wife, Clara, and a little daughter, Lily, whose laughter lit up the gloomy forests. But jealousy brewed in the shadows. The village elder, a greedy man named Harlan, wanted Clara for himself. One stormy night, Harlan spread lies. Elias was a thief, a murderer. The villagers, blinded by fear, dragged Elias to the old oak tree at the edge of town. With a rusty axe, they severed his head, letting it roll into the mud. As his body slumped, Elias's last words echoed, "I will return, without mercy." They buried his body in the woods, but his head vanished into the night, swallowed by the earth. The village tried to forget, but on moonless nights, whispers spread. A headless figure roamed the paths, axe in hand, searching for what was stolen. Not just his head, but the heads of the guilty, and anyone who dared cross his path. Fast forward to today, 2025. Willowbrook is a ghost of itself. Empty houses, overgrown roads, tourists avoiding it like a plague. That's where our story truly begins, with a young woman named Ava. Ava was a city girl, 25 years old, with curly hair and a camera always slung around her neck. She made videos about urban legends for her small online following. Real horrors, no fakes, she'd say. One day, a tip came in: visit Willowbrook. The headless wanderer waits. Intrigued, Ava packed her bag and drove the winding roads. The GPS glitched as she entered the village, trees closing in like watchful eyes. "This place is perfect," she muttered, stepping out into the chill air. The sun dipped low, painting the sky in bruises of purple and black. She checked into the only inn left, run by an old woman named Mrs. Thorne. "Don't wander after dark, dear," Mrs. Thorne warned, her eyes darting. "The wanderer, he takes heads, but first he takes your mind." Ava smiled. Just stories, right? But as night fell, the inn creaked like old bones. Ava couldn't sleep. She grabbed her camera and slipped out, drawn to the woods. "Let's find this headless guy," she whispered to the lens, her breath fogging the screen. The path was narrow, roots tripping her like hidden hands. Owls hooted warnings, and the wind carried faint cries. Ava's flashlight beam danced ahead, revealing fog that swirled like living smoke. Then, she heard it, a rhythmic thud, like boots on dirt. Thud, thud. She froze. "Hello." Her voice echoed back, mocking. From the mist, a shape emerged. Tall, broad-shouldered, dressed in tattered blacksmith clothes. But where the head should be, nothing. Just a jagged stump, oozing shadows that dripped like black blood. Ava scrambled free, running blindly. Branches slashed her face, drawing blood that tasted like iron. She burst into a clearing, the old oak tree, gnarled and cursed. There, on the ground, she saw it. A skull, weathered and cracked, eyes sockets glowing faintly. Elias's head? She reached for it, but the wanderer appeared behind her, silent as death. The axe swung, missing by inches, embedding in the tree with a crack like thunder. Gasping, Ava remembered Mrs. Thorne's words. To stop him, return what was taken. She grabbed the skull, holding it high. The wanderer paused, shadows writhing. But as she tried to place it on the stump, the skull spoke, no mouth, but a voice from deep within. "Not just my head, yours too." The ground shook, and illusions flooded Ava's mind. Visions of her own past sins, lies she told, hearts she broke. The wanderer wasn't just hunting heads. He fed on guilt, twisting it into madness until victims offered their own necks. Ava fought the visions, her mind fracturing. She saw Clara and Lily as ghosts, circling, pleading. "He was innocent," they whispered. "Harlan's bloodline lives in you." A twist. Ava was a distant descendant of Harlan, the betrayer. That's why the wanderer called her here. The axe rose again, but Ava screamed, "I'm sorry." She smashed the skull against the tree, shattering it into dust. The wanderer howled, a sound like 1,000 storms, his body crumbling into shadows that slithered back into the earth. Ava collapsed, sobbing. Dawn broke, birds singing as if nothing happened. She staggered back to the inn, camera in hand. Mrs. Thorne nodded knowingly. "You saw him, but he's not gone, just waiting." Weeks later, Ava uploaded the video. Views exploded. Millions watched the shaky footage of the headless figure. But then, strange things happened. Viewers reported nightmares, a headless man at their bedside, whispering sins. One by one, they vanished, heads found severed in Willowbrook Woods. Ava? She stopped posting. Her last message, "He's coming for me. For all of us." The curse of the headless wanderer isn't just a story, it's a warning. In Willowbrook, The woods still whisper, and on moonless nights, thudding footsteps echo. If you feel a chill on your neck, like breath without a mouth, run. But where can you hide from your own guilt? This tale, born from my darkest imaginings, draws threads from real headless legends, like the Dullahan of Irish folklore and ghostly riders in misty moors. But I've woven it into something uniquely terrifying, a mirror to our hidden shames. If your pulse is racing, smash that like button, subscribe for more soul-shaking horrors, and share your own headless encounters in the comments. What sin would the Wanderer whisper to you? Sleep with one eye open? Or don't sleep at all?